Welcome to the Refine and Shine, the podcast dedicated to mastering the art of continuous improvement and optimizing every aspect of your life. I'm Angelina Rivera, your host, and together we'll uncover the secrets to refining our lives, our habits, and our processes to unlock our inner brilliance. Join us on Refine and Shine, where we'll delve deep into achieving more in life without the burnout and without all the stress. This podcast is your platform for a more fulfilling life through continuous improvement and personal growth. In each episode, I and a diverse array of guests discuss practical strategies for up-leveling every aspect of your life. From developing good habits and organizing your space to refining your mindset and personal goals, we're going to explore it all. Our guests share personal stories about the systems they've developed or systems they've used and the tweaks they've made in their lives when refinement was needed, allowing them to truly shine. Listen to Refine and Shine to learn how you can implement continuous improvement techniques in your daily routine, develop and maintain healthy habits that lead to success and satisfaction, organize your life to reduce the stress and increase your productivity, foster a growth mindset that propels you to new heights. My mission is to inspire you to take bold action, make positive changes, and become the best version of yourself. Whether you're aiming to elevate your career, nurture meaningful relationships, or enhance your overall well-being, Refine and Shine is your guiding light. With over 25 years of experience in continuous improvement, I help businesses streamline their processes, establish efficient work areas, and implement standard work protocols. I have trained over 600 individuals and teams in process improvement, optimizing workflows, and enhancing overall operational efficiency. Tune in every week as we embark on an enlightening journey, exploring paths to refinement and illuminating the way to shine in every area of our lives. Subscribe now and join us on this journey to polish your life and let your best self shine through. Thank you for joining us on Refine and Shine. Welcome everybody to another episode of Refine and Shine podcast. I'm super excited about my guest, and when I first thought about this podcast, she was the first person that I thought I need to have her on my podcast. And so I'm so excited that she's here. She's a very dear friend of mine. I've known her almost as long as I've known my husband, so it's been a very long time. Him and I have just celebrated, I think, 29 or 30 years together. She's an amazing friend of mine, and I met her through my husband, but we are now very close, her and I, and we probably talk almost daily. So my guest is Brisa Alfaro, and let me tell you a little bit about my beautiful friend, Brisa. She's a brainstem stroke survivor. She's an international #1 best-selling author. She's a TEDx speaker who has been featured on major platforms like the Doctor's TV show, the Washington Post, and in Women's World magazine. After overcoming locked-in syndrome and defying a less than 1% chance of recovery, now hear this again, a 1% chance of recovery, Brisa now empowers high achievers to break free from feeling stuck or locked in to their circumstances. Through her powerful story and actionable steps, she inspires us to embrace our limitless potential by making small moves that lead us to big results. Thank you, Brisa. I'm so excited you're here today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here too.
I think that your story is so powerful, and I would say, knowing you prior to your stroke, like you've always been somebody of an inspiration, right? When you're just always been an inspirational person to me, somebody that I looked up to. And I just thank you that you always bring the light. And that's why it was so important that I had you on my podcast, because you know how to defy all the odds and still shine through no matter what the circumstances are. And so one of the things that you love to talk about is pinky moves. And so can you tell us a little bit about what pinky moves are and how this came about?
Well, first of all, Angelina, thank you for saying that. That was very well received. And I feel the same way about you. I gravitate to people with the same energy that I have and the same mindset. And I'm just very fortunate that you are in my life, and you've been in my life for a very, very long time. And now it's a little closer. We're a little closer, but I feel very fortunate to have you as a friend. So thank you. And
Oh,
thank you for having me on the podcast. So, yeah, I'll give you a little backstory about um, how Pinky Moves came about. So, going back over 10 years ago, I was 32 years old and I was living a regular life, pretty much feeling like nothing really bad was going to happen to me because I was a good person and I did good things. So, I didn't expect really bad things to happen to me. And I think that uh, the way that we look at situations like that um, can really either make us or break us and to derail us or not. Just the perception, just how you look at it when bad things happen to good people. And I wasn't prepared. I wasn't ready. I was working. I was doing, my life. And then all of a sudden, I ended up in a New York City hospital faced with a less than 1% chance to recover, to the point where they were all calling my family to come say goodbye to me because there was really no way of life after this. I had a stroke. They didn't just have any kind of stroke. So most people that have strokes that affect a certain side of their body, the left side or the right side. Mine happened in the middle, so it affected both sides and it knocked both sides out. And I developed something called locked in syndrome, where I was locked in my own body and I wasn't able to speak or communicate with the outside world. So I was trapped and listening to my doctors deliver this news to my family, telling them that there were less than 5 cases per year worldwide. It's a very, very rare form of stroke. The odds in the recovery is just not good. So I had that information and I had a choice. Do I let that information be the determining factor? Like, is that, am I letting somebody else write my story? Is that what's going to happen? I know these are the circumstances, but why does my future have to depend on this moment right now? Why can't it change with the moments that I do after? Like, to me, that's what I just didn't understand. Like, why is somebody else calling the shot?
mhm.
So my mom did something while I was in this state, while I was in the locked in state, laying on the hospital bed with no movement or anything. She and my family decided that they were going to do whatever they could to make me uh, be able to come back to them, essentially. So they played things like audiobooks and spoke to me in ways that made me start dreaming about my future. And as a result, I was dreaming so much of it. Like I was almost playing a movie in my mind of what my recovery was going to look like. And I started future pacing my life. I started creating what my life was going to look like in my mind before it ever happened. One of the things that helped me was mom played a book, The Secret. The Secret focuses on the law of attraction. Whatever you focus on grows. And in that book, I heard this statement by Lisa Nichols, and she said the first step is to act. Make a command to the universe. Let the universe know what you want because the universe responds to your thoughts. And if all I had to do was change my thoughts, I changed my life, then that's what I'm going to do. I thought of nothing else but complete healing, nothing else but the future that I wanted. And I dreamt of it so much that every time the doctors would come in and interrupt my dream by taking blood or, talking with my family or whatever, they would interrupt my dream, my story, my movie that was playing on in my mind. I had to get a small dose of reality, what was going on. But then I decided I'm going to play on what I want to see, what I want to hear. And I would go back into my mind movie. And I did that for so long. And it didn't matter. The doctor kept saying, it's not going to happen. She's not going to move. All those movements that you see her making, that the family kept calling them out, saying she's moving, she's moving. They would say, no, those movements are involuntary. I'm sorry. I know you won't believe it, but they're involuntary. How many times has that happened to all of us? Where we work and work and work so hard for our efforts to finally be noticed, and then they're just disregarded. And that's what kept happening to me over and over and over again until one time someone believed in me a little bit more. And that was one of my neurologists. He came in my room and gave me another shot, gave me another chance to show them what I could do. This time I was able to connect the dots. Before I wasn't able to do it. Before I wasn't able to make the move when every time they asked me, I couldn't do it. This time I was able to do it. Sometimes all we need is just a little bit more time. We just need
Mhm.
to set up our system, like your system girl, you know all about that. We need to set it up. We need to set ourselves up to win. And sometimes it's just going to take practice. It's going to take more times than one. It's going to take you not giving up, what it's going to take. And I was able to show my doctors in that very moment a sign that I was still in my body, that they don't need to give up on me, that there's still life left in me. And that came through as a tiny pinky, pinky move. I didn't move mountains. I didn't get up and walk out of the hospital right away. I didn't, you know, chop it up and say, okay, I'm done here. I moved my pinky. And then from that, I built on that later with my hand, my arm, the right side of my body. Months later, the left side came back. This is months and years of recovery, learning how to sit in a wheelchair, walk with a walker, walk with a cane, later unassisted. But every micro victory was just a pinky move. It was a small, little actionable step that guided me to make the next actionable step that honestly compounded for me to be able to be sitting here talking to you guys today. It was just a bunch of pinky moves.
I think that that's so important. It's just small actionable steps, just one thing move at a time. And a lot of times, like when you didn't focus, like, how am I going to go from being in this bed locked in my body to running a race? And I mean, you've ran races since then, but it wasn't like you had this whole thought, like, I'm just going to just do all these great things. Like, you're like, I have to focus instead of the long run. I have to focus on just one actionable step that I can do at a time. And then, of course, compound effects. And a lot of times everybody's like, I want to
Mhm,
hurry up and go to A to Z. Like, I want to start this race
mhm,
and finish. But it's all the things that we have to take, all the actions that we have to take, or the systems that we have to take to get that we have to build up to get us to one place to the next.
mhm.
And some people like think about they just want everything quick and fast. But when it's quick
Right.
and fast, you didn't work for it.
Mhm,
You didn't learn the lessons that you have to learn
mhm,
and all the
mhm.
things. And I think that that's so important because you've learned a lot of lessons. You've learned patience with yourself. You've learned how to have patience with others. There's so many things, and you've learned, like you said, systems. Like it didn't, there was some simple systems that you had to create, just as simple as washing your hair. Like, can you talk to us a
Mhm.
little bit about what the things that you had to do so people understand
Yeah.
the things that you had to go through? I mean, she had to learn how to walk again. She had to learn how to like talk again, speak, learn Spanish again. She used to know multiple languages, and there's all these things that she had to learn how to do. So just even listening
Mhm.
to her, how she had to wash her hair is amazing. How the system she had to come up with.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of system, that definitely was a system that I had to create. And I've created many as I've been recovering because to be honest with you, I still have a brain injury and I still struggle with many things on a day to day. And one of those things, when I came home from the hospital and was recovering, when I finally was able to stand on my own, then my mom allowed me to take showers by myself. So before I had to sit in a chair, my family had to help me. My mom had to help me, take showers and everything. And I was very excited that I can actually do it on my own. But doing it on your own, sometimes you're going to need a little bit of help. And what helped me was creating a system. I was taking long, long showers. And I didn't realize I was taking such long showers until one day my mom knocked on the door and she says, "Are you okay, Brisa?" I said, "Yeah, I'm okay." "Why do you always ask me that?" "I'm okay." And she said, "Because you're in there for hours." "Oh." And I'm like, "Really?" And then I started thinking, it doesn't feel like hours. Why do why do I think it's hours? And then I started realizing I am repeating myself, just like I repeat myself verbally because I have short-term memory, and I would talk about something and then repeat it 15 minutes later or 10 minutes later. I would say it again as if I never had said it. And my family's like, "Yeah, we know, Brisa. We got it." Well, I was doing the same thing when I'm taking a shower, I'm washing my hair. By the time I was done washing my hair, I shampooed everything. By the time I was done rinsing out my shampoo, I forgot that I already washed it. So I would grab the shampoo bottle again and shampoo my hair again. And then I'd go back and rinse it out. By the time I was done rinsing it out, guess what? Shampooing my hair again. So I had to create a system where when I get in the shower, my shampoo is on the left. And when I put it on the right, that means I've already used it. So I see it on the left. I have not done it. Now I squirt it in my hand and I put it on the right. And now I know this this is gonna work. This system is gonna work. Did it happen right away? No. I had to trial and error a bunch of times, but I knew my intention. I knew what my intention was. And my intention was for me to get it down. Like, I'm gonna get this down eventually. And I did. And eventually that system was working for me. So I saw the bottles on the right. I'm done with those. I need to go to the bottles on the left. When I get out of the shower, I grab all the bottles and put them on the left. So I start every shower with them on the left. And I created that system to help me hurry up and take a shower. And then all the other things too, like sticky notes. Sticky notes are my best friend. I mean, I live on my own now, where before my family was very scared of me living on my own because, what if someone finds out that I have short-term memory? Will they take advantage of me? Will I remember to do anything? Like do the things I need to do? Like, for instance, I don't cook. I don't cook. One, it's a choice because I don't know how to cook. But two, it's also it's done as a precaution because if I leave something on the fire and I forget, I will burn the house down. So
Mhm.
don't play with fire. Trust me with fire. So I don't. That's some of the reasons why I don't cook. But if there's other things, I will run out of food or whatever, and I'll put little sticky notes on my fridge. Or if there's something I need to remember before I walk out of my house, on my door, there's a sticky note so that I don't, because I can't trust my brain all the time. I know my capacity. I know what I'm working with. And so I need to set myself up to win. And I do that by sending myself reminders. Put little sticky notes on the door that says, remember. And this is another tip. Don't write or say, don't forget, because what you're doing is programming your mind to forget. So if I could offer any advice to anyone listening, is use the word remember to in place of don't forget. Remember to whatever. So I would write down, remember to get this, it's in your living room, or remember to grab this before you walk out. Remember to grab your purse, remember your phone, remember, like, all these things. And then I have sticky notes in my car that will say, remember to put gas before you go to wherever. Because I've done that. I've run out of gas. I can't even tell you how many times. I think that's how we met. Like,
Yeah, one of the times.
one
Yeah.
of the times we met, yeah. But I've run out of gas so many times because I forget that I need to go do that. And my mind's already thinking of all the other things I got to do. That's the last thing that I'm looking at is my gas gauge. So I need to remember to look at that. I need to I need to set reminders for myself, whether it be on my phone, whether it be a sticky note, whether it be just telling a friend, remind me at this time that I got to do this, asking other people like before I get up. I've done this where I've been in a group setting with multiple people and I have to leave to take a phone call or I have to leave to go to the restroom, but I'm in the middle of saying something. And I have to remember when I get back, I will give them the job to do it. And I'll ask them, can you please remind me when I step back, just these words, remind me by saying these words to me. It will trigger something. And then I'll remember what I was saying. So you have to use your deficits and make them strength. And I think a lot of us look at what we're struggling through as uh, something that can hold us back. And honestly, of course, it's a struggle. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's frustrating and all of that. But when we change the perspective of looking at it, like you've heard of the saying, when we change the way we look at things, those things that we look at change. It's
Mm-hmm.
a fact. It's a fact. I mean, when I start changing the way that I approach things, the things that I approach also change. So we have to have our systems that work for us. And I think that there's nothing wrong with doing what you know you're capable of doing, even if it looks weird or sounds funny or whatever. It works for you.
We'll be back after a quick break.
Imagine this. What would your life look like if you could reclaim hours every week? What could you achieve if you weren't constantly battling distractions? Now, let me ask you, what's stopping you from getting there? Here's the thing, my next time management 8-week coaching program starts the week of February 3rd, 2025, and it's currently on sale. This is your chance to learn the strategies that help busy people like you get more done and feel less stressed. But let me be real, spots are limited and this sale won't last forever. So if you are serious about making 2025 your most productive and balanced year yet, visit angelinarivera.com right now. Here's the question. Will you let another year slip by, or will you take this step to finally unlock your time potential? I'll see you in the program. I think it's so important what you just said. Like you just said is, I mean, everything that you said is so valuable. And we got to be, if it looks weird, it looks weird, but let people are going to judge us anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so we got to like put those blinders on. The fact that we may have to tell ourselves, or we may have to like, my whatever way we have to remind ourselves to remember. And like you said, put those words remember to instead of don't
Mhm.
forget, but remember to, so it's like a positive instead of like a negative, like don't forget. Is so important. And the thing is, it wasn't something that came up easy. Like it was things that you had to do over time. And how am I going to remember this? Asking for support, having that support circle. And what you said is, even though it's like a weakness, is this making sure that you emphasize, yes, I am weak in this area, but this is the way that I'm going to strengthen it by asking for others, or using sticky notes and doing all these things. Some people are so scared to like to hide their weaknesses, and it stops them from even taking action, right? And
Yeah.
so I think that's so important. Like you said, the first step is to act, like is
Hmm.
also important. There's so many things that you've had happen. I mean, you've shared your story, you've helped others. And I think it's so important that you didn't let this, like you were, before this happened, you were a hairstylist, you were working in New York, you had all these like high paying clients, you were doing remarkable things. And that could stop somebody like, oh, this happened. It's not God's will for me to do, to be, successful in life. Like he stopped me for a reason, but you've changed that story, and you've let it so that you're doing other things now. You've used what happened to you as a wake up call and building programs to help others that have maybe affected by, people in the hospital or stroke recovery. You're sharing your story, you're speaking your story. Um, and tell me a little bit about what your goals are with that.
Yeah, so I know that there are people out there that are game changers. I know that there are people out there that are day makers. I like they make people's day, whether it be your children, your husband, your business. It they're important in this world, and the world would not be the same without you. And I want to reach those people. Those are the ones that I gravitate to because those are the ones that leave that lasting impression and do make positive changes in this world. And even those people have moments of times where you feel like throwing in the towel. You feel like, what's the point of all of this? Maybe I should just, go back to, not having such big, huge goals and dreams and make what am I sacrificing all of this for? Is this a waste? Am I wasting my time? No, you're not. No, you're not. And I want people to know there is a purpose. This calling that you've got in your heart, in your soul, it wasn't planted in you as an accident. It's on purpose. And it's gonna come with many battle wounds. And I want to be able to help empower people when they feel like they're on the brink of giving up. I want to find those people, and I have been, and it's been amazing where when I share my story, when I've been meeting people, when they were at the very end, when they are at, I'm done, when they're at the moment of saying, okay, one more podcast, and then I'm done. One more stage, and then I'm done. One more speaker, and then I'm done. One more book, and then I'm done. Like one more story, and then I'm done. One more day, and then I'm done. And then they experience me and they're just like, oh, damn, no excuses. Okay, I'll go back to it. I'll get back on my grind. And that's what I want to do. I want to empower people to make those pinky moves because if they don't make those pinky moves, other people won't make it. There's so many people counting on on these certain individual people like you, for instance. Like there are so many people that don't know what you know. And if you stop in your um goals and what you're setting out to do, then all those people that have been struggling, trying to figure out systems and strategies just to make their days work, if they didn't experience you because you gave up,
Mm-hmm.
then then what's the point of all of this? We're all on this planet to help each other out in
Yes.
one way or another. And that's just my way. I just want to help empower people to keep going, to empower people to keep making pinky moves. Even though it doesn't seem like a lot, those little pinky moves will compound. And then you will build a life that is barely recognizable.
I think that's so important. And I've shared this with you as we've had many conversations. I think we talk several times a week. And that was one of the things when I thought about should I continue my podcast because it was a dream that I had, but I had to have the timing right and there was other things I had to put into place. But I was like, all my friends are coming out with podcasts. Maybe my story doesn't matter or what I want to share about, but we all have different perspectives. And the other day I got a message from somebody and it said it was so random, but it was I really love your podcast. It's really helping me a lot. And I'm like, oh, this is so awesome. And I think that that's so important is that, like when I thought about doing my podcast, it was something like God put on my heart. And there's so many things that God will put, and it'll be a gut instinct. It'll say, something like things don't just drop into our laps just to happen. Like they're put in our place for a purpose. Like we're all created for a purpose and we all have strengths. And we need to use those strengths that we have, those God-given talents to help others. And we shouldn't be selfish with what we have to do and selfish on not sharing our story or helping others. And I think that no matter what we've done, like our circumstances, like you've continued that no matter what circumstances that you had, had happen to you, that you continue to refine and shine. And you didn't stop. You go to many programs like masterminds, you're speaking, you're getting in connections with people because you know that your story is going to impact people. I mean, to become the #1 international bestseller with your book Limitless. When I read that, and I was so excited that we were there at the restaurant. Her family has this amazing restaurant that if you follow me and my husband go on date night to this Mexican restaurant, well, that's her family's restaurant. And that night that you became bestseller, it was such an amazing experience just to be there, but you were so humble about it. And that's what I love about you, is that you're so humble and you appreciate every single thing that happens to you. You look at it with light, and if things happen or if you get frustrated, you're like, okay, you step back and you get grounded.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Refine and Shine. We hope you find valuable insights and inspiration to fuel your journey of continuous improvement. Remember, the key to success lies in refining your processes and letting your inner brilliance shine. If you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. Your feedback is greatly appreciated and helps us reach more listeners like you who are eager to refine and shine in all areas of life. Stay connected with us on social media for updates and additional resources and behind-the-scenes content. We love hearing from our listeners, so feel free to reach out with any suggestions, questions, or success stories you'd like to share. As we wrap up, remember that the power to transform your life lies within you. Keep striving for growth, embracing change, and seeking opportunities to refine your skills. Together, let's continue to shine bright and make a positive impact in the world. Until next time, keep refining and keep shining.